with Robb Fraley, Executive Vice President and Chief Technology Officer of Monsanto. You described incredible challenges, but an explosion in technology. Are you talking about seed technologies, plant technologies, digital technology? What are you referring to?
Well, let's talk about both. So, huge challenge ahead from a food security perspective. By 2050, 10 billion people, world wealth increase, demand for food nearly doubling, means that all of us on the planet need to think about how we both produce more food and waste less, and that's really the key, and that's where technology comes in. So we're looking at an explosion of new advances in agriculture, not only on the biology side, where we've created new methods for breeding crops that create higher yields and better nutrition, but on the data science side. Agriculture is probably the last large industry in the world to be digitized, and now we're seeing all kinds of advances, from satellite images to sensors in the soil to data algorithms that will give farmers better information and advice on how to improve yields and production on their farm. So it's an exciting time. It's a challenging time. I'm optimistic and excited about the potential we have to farm better and smarter and address both food security and enhance our environment.
Okay, now this becomes important because you said we are arguably at peak farmland. What do you mean by that, and why is it? There's not going to be a new farmland available in the future?
Well, the world now farms about 2.5+ billion acres of farmland, and I think the challenge, of course, from an environmental perspective, is that being able to create more farmland means draining wetlands, destroying prairies, cutting down forests. I think from an environmental perspective, we would like to freeze farming's footprint around the world, and instead of farming more land, take the land that we farm and farm it better, more efficiently, more sustainably. And at some point, I think if we can continue to advance these new technologies, biology, data science, we'll be able to shrink the farming footprint and make decisions on maybe there's very sensitive soils that shouldn't have been farmed, that we can reforest or we can recreate wetlands. And when we think about that, I think it's a win both from the point of view of using technology to address food production and food security, and at the same time using technology to improve both the footprint and the sustainability of farming in the future. So it's an exciting opportunity to use technology to ensure that we have a food secure world, but also an environment and a planet that is enhanced.
Okay. Tell me about the World Food Prize. It's a major honor in the field. What did you win it for in 2013?
Well, I received the World Food Prize in 2013 along with two other scientists, Mary Del Chilton and Mark Van Montague, and we were recognized as the group of scientists who basically created the first genetically modified crops using the biotechnology methods. And for me personally, it's obviously always gratifying to be recognized by your peers for a piece of science that has contributed to improving agriculture and food security. But on a very personal level, the World Food Prize was founded by Dr. Norman Borlaug, and Dr. Borlaug was a personal friend and mentor of mine. So to receive the World Food Prize, knowing the close relationship that I had with Norm, made it even more special.
Okay, and you mentioned GMOs. I mean, that's obviously kind of a hot button issue culturally and socially, politically right now. Why are people so scared about GMOs? I mean, many people, and how do you respond to that fear?
Well, it's really unfortunate, and I'm sure you've seen the Jimmy Kimmel show where he went around and asked people what was a GMO, and nobody knew. GMO has become an icon that people think is something that is concerning, and it really isn't. And one of the points I always make when I talk about the use of biotechnology and the tools is that they're used universally in society. In fact, a lot of people don't appreciate that the very first GMO product ever created, way back in the 1980s, was human insulin. You know, prior to that, if you were a diabetic, you would get your insulin extracted from the organs of animals, and today that gene is produced in a laboratory to produce human insulin, and it's very clean, it's very pure. But today, you know, just to make the point, the vast number of medicines and pharmaceutical products are all based on biotechnology and GMO technology. So GMOs are present in our healthcare system. You know, the first food product that was a GMO was the enzyme that we use to make cheese. You know, to be able to turn milk into cheese requires a specific enzyme that's now made as a GMO. I wrote a couple of articles that were really, I thought, pretty cool, that made the point that in many ways we live in a GMO world. It's impacted all aspects of our life. And you know, my favorite example, I don't know if you're an aquarium enthusiast, but you know, one of the largest selling products now in aquariums around the country are glowfish. So these are, you know, tetras and barbs that are actually genetically engineered to contain the luminescent protein either from algae or from corals, and when you shine a blue light on them, they shine up as red, yellow, green, and blue, and so we even have GMO pets. So we do live in a GMO world, and it's unfortunate that some people have chosen, you know, to create fear-mongering and misunderstanding around a science that's been incredibly important to think about the impact that it's had on healthcare, on our lives, and improving you know, the lives of people all around the world.
Okay, I think that's all I need.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much.
Great, thank you.